Hi, so happy to be here today to make this video here for you about how to get these results, how to become an intuitive eater or a conscious eater as quickly as possible. So when people usually set out on this journey to make peace with food, usually we start with a lot of enthusiasm. And you may be familiar with that enthusiasm because it's also there if you've ever started a diet before. You know, when you decide to become vegan and you become vegan girl.
I'm all about the beans.
Or when you go keto and then you become keto man.
Carbs are out.
In this case, many people become intuitive eating person.
I eat the perfect amount of food in all ways for all my days.
And in doing so, it could be really great because, you get that energy, you get that motivation, you get that enthusiasm. However, it could actually be counterproductive for some people when they don't realize that there might be certain things that might get in the way of their results, that they may hit an obstacle in their lives. Because oftentimes these people, when they go with this unbridled enthusiasm, when they hit a roadblock, they may become discouraged. So what I want to talk about in this video is actually how to navigate these roadblocks with more ease, with more peace, and even quicker than you would have otherwise. So let's get started. So I drew a picture for you to illustrate some of what I'm going to talk about. And so usually, and a great friend taught me this, so I'm really excited to share this with you. So whenever we set out when we have a goal that we're setting, this is us and this is our goal. And usually when we want to make progress towards the goal, we think straight line. I'm going to get what I want. And in many aspects of life that occurs, and it's so great when that happens, when you think about what you want and you move towards it and it happens. Yay. And on this journey with food, sometimes this might not happen. In fact, most times it's not that simple. Usually something comes up. So I'm going to illustrate that something coming up as this roadblock or this challenge that inevitably may come up. So this roadblock, this trigger could be anything, as you know. It could be that maybe, you got into a car accident, or maybe your company is downsizing and so you have the opportunity of having more work, or maybe your company is downsizing and that included you, or maybe your friend was diagnosed with a terminal disease, or maybe you went to a party and you saw your ex-partner there and that was triggering for you. So as we all know, there are many things that could trigger your eating. So if you're not anticipating things coming up, oftentimes what people do is on their way to their goal, when they hit this roadblock, is they give up. They decide it's not right for them. They change their mind. They get scared. They tell themselves they're too busy. Now's not the time. That there's something wrong with them. That they just can't do it. And they turn back. And that could be very frustrating and keep people stuck for years and keep them from ever making progress. And I think the saddest part when people do that is when they just decide something's wrong with me. I just can't do this. And so that keeps people stuck so long. And they don't have to be. So instead, I want to share with you some steps on how to navigate these inevitable roadblocks. And so first of all, when you're going through life and you're on your way making peace towards foods and learning how to listen to your body and trust yourself and all of that, when you hit a roadblock, when you hit a challenge, is first of all to realize that you're hitting a challenge, to see that this is part of the progress. It's not in the way. I know that because it's there, it's happening. It's on the way of you becoming the type of eater you want to be. Very often people think that these challenges are taking them off the path and they give up too soon. But what I want to tell you is that these challenges are life and they're part of the path. So the first thing you want to do is realize that when something comes up for you, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It's actually part of the process. And you could actually think of it like this, that when you're hitting a challenge, that school is in session. There's something here for you to learn. Step number 2 is to take time and space to process what about this is so triggering for you. So this is when having a coach or a therapist or a counselor could be really supportive. I know a lot of people like to journal too, and that could be great. In giving yourself the time and the space to really explore what about this is so challenging for you. What is it bringing up in you? What are you telling yourself about yourself? What are you telling yourself about life? Are there any outdated beliefs? Are there any outdated stories that might be present for you that it's time to release? So just get present of what's going on and understand that pretending that this is not a trigger or pretending this part of your life isn't hard doesn't make it not hard. So being really honest with yourself of what's present for you and why this is so challenging. The third step is to think about the results that you want. Think about that version of you who's living that life that you want to be living. I call that future you. And with my clients, I have a lot of ways that I show them on how to access that future you. So you want to call in that future you and have a brainstorming session. What would that future you say about this situation? How would that future you handle this situation? How would that future you show up? What would that future you believe about this situation? What about this? What would that future you not believe about about the situation? So again, invite that future you and brainstorm how this future you would handle this situation, how they would show up, what they would believe, what wouldn't they believe, what would they be telling themselves. So just allow that to happen. Brainstorm with that future you. The next step is looking at those ideas that you brainstorm with future you. Select which one of those ideas has the most energy for you. The way you know something has energy for you is that it feels good. You might feel like a sense of expansion. It's not a step that's too big or too scary. It feels natural and like the next thing to do. So determine what is the next step that you'd like to take, or what is the next belief you'd like to hold on to, or what beliefs or judgments do you need to let go of. So determine for yourself what's next for you. And from there, put that action step in your calendar, or take that action step immediately within the next 24 or 48 hours. And these steps, I really love them because it starts having you create from the future instead of going back and, rehashing and doing things the way you've always done it. It allows you to make choices based on the future that you want to create. What you're doing here is effectively you're embracing this challenge and you're working with it, allowing it to grow you, so you not only move past it and move towards your goal, you also grow. You grow into the person who has this type of life, who lives in this kind of way. It probably won't be your last challenge. Sorry to ruin your surprise. There might be something else. But when you understand that's part of the process, it actually makes it easier to keep on moving towards the goal and towards the vision you have for yourself and your life. So something I really want you to know is this vision that you have for yourself of being a conscious eater, or eating in an aligned way, or eating intuitively, whatever you want to call it, making peace with food. I really want you to have that. I really want you to get that in your life. And I want you to realize to get that, you have to become the person who has those results in their lives. So as one of my mentors used to say, the results are not just for the getting, it's for the becoming the person you need to become who lives those types of results. So what is your life asking of you now? What is this an opportunity for you right now? So think about what's going on in your life. Think about what's happening or what's going to happen, what you're afraid is going to happen. That might trigger your eating in a way that would, be counterproductive. And do this exercise. Take time and space to clarify for yourself, what about this is so triggering? Invite your future self in and have a brainstorming session with your future self to determine your next step. You don't need to know all of your steps, just your very next step. And finally, determine which one of those steps has the most energy for you and pick one thing and put it in your calendar and actually do that thing. So that's how you get the results as soon as possible. How you become this conscious eater quickly is by understanding that things are going to come up and take time to be present with those things and to determine what the next best step is for you. So it's kind of like a paradox. When you realize that it might take some time, or when you realize that you might need to have these brainstorming sessions or be present with yourself, it seems like it would make it take longer, but it actually helps you have these results that you want with more peace, ease, with more perspective and joy. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope it spoke to you in some way, and I'm really curious to know, how are you going to use this? What's happening in your life, and how do you see yourself using these steps? Please comment on the space below to share with this community what you're up to and how you plan to use this information. Also, I want to thank all of you for subscribing to be a part of this community. I love your comments, and I love the back and forth that we're having. And if you haven't done so already, I invite you to subscribe to be a part of this community. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
I heart celery. That's carbicide.